Welcome everyone to our presentation. We are Group 5 consisting of Đắc Hiếu, Minh, Quỳnh, Giao, and Minh Thảo. Our group topic is about online communities, and our presentation is divided into 3 parts. The first part is about social networks and online communities. The second part is about online auctions. And the third part, although the final part, is about e-commerce portals. So let me start with the first part about social networks and online communities. The early online communities involve a relatively small number of web aficionados and users with intense interest in technology, politics, literature, and ideas. Starting from the beginning of the 21st century, the growth of mobile devices like smartphones, tablet computers, digital cameras, and portable media devices enable the sharing of rich media such as photos, music, and videos. So it has turned into a social phenomenon with a wider audience and a new emerging culture. In fact, there are about 2.3 billion users worldwide, and the rate of users is still growing at 9% annually. So let me first define what social networks are. So social networks involve a group of people who share social interaction or common tasks among members and a shared area for some period of time. An online social network is one where people who share common tasks can interact with one another online. And some example can be seen in Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. So all taken together. It is a group of people who may or may not meet one another face to face and who exchange words and ideas through the mediation of an online social meeting space, mainly through the internet nowadays. And there is an online social network to join almost anywhere you go. And you can see in the figure 10.1 here, it is about the top US social networks in 2016. Facebook leads the way with about 206 million unique visitors per month, and it is followed behind by LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest with around 100 million unique visitors per month. Snapchat is also popular with a figure of about 64 million unique visitors. So social networks are not only used for entertainment but also for business because social networks have had an impact on how businesses operate, communicate, and serve their customers. A 2015 survey of Fortune, who surveyed 500 firms, found that 93% use LinkedIn, 78% use Twitter, and 74% use Facebook. And online reputation has been taken very seriously by firms today. So there are 5 main types of business social networks and online communities, as you can see in this table. The first part is about general. It is an online social gathering place to meet and socialize with friends, share content, schedules, and interests. The next one is practice. It is a social network of professionals and practitioners, creators of artifacts such as computer code or music. The third part is about interest. It is a community built around a common interest such as games, sports, music, politics, health, finance, foreign affairs, or lifestyle. The next one is about affinity. Affinity is a community of members who self-identify with a demographic or geographic category, such as women, African Americans, or Vietnamese American. And the last one is sponsored. The sponsored network is a network created by commercial, government, and non-profit organizations for a variety of purposes.
So, how are social networks connecting more and more people around the world these days? So one of the answer is algorithm, which is one of the most important technology used by social network. It is defined as a step-by-step instruction similar to a recipe from producing a desired output from required inputs. To be more specific, social networks utilize computer algorithms, which are computer programs that carry out step-by-step instructions to produce desired outputs. A typical example of this method is how Facebook can generate personalized and relevant story for its user homepage. In this slide, it illustrates the generic algorithm that Facebook used to produce what is called relationship-based content personalized for each member of its social network based on a pattern it found in 2010. In the first few steps, Facebook records the data and divides its users into different affinity groups. Then, they identify key characteristics of each group. Finally, the Facebook database creates content to appear on their Facebook page based on what other members of the affinity group are posting, commenting on, or reading. This all may sound very straightforward, but each step in the algorithm is implemented by computer programs involving tens of thousands of lines of computer code and thousands of hours of software engineering and system development. This is one of the key advantages that make Facebook arguably the best social media in the world today.
So the next part is online auctions. So auctions are used throughout the e-commerce landscape, and auctions are not limited to goods and services. They can also be used to allocate resources and bundles of resources among any group of bidders. And in short, auctions, like all markets, are ways of allocating resources among independent agents. And the most widely known auctions are consumer-to-consumer auctions, and in which the auction house is simply an intermediary market maker and providing a forum where consumers, such as a buyer and seller, can discover the prices and trade. And the market leader in C2C auctions is eBay, which had over 150 million active users and over 800 million items listed on any given day. And less well-known are business-to-consumer auctions, where a business owns or controls assets and uses dynamic pricing to establish the price. And increasingly, online retail sites such as Same Club are adding auctions to their sites. Next, we will move to some examples of online auctions, and we list auctions. English auctions is the easiest to understand and the most common form of auctions on eBay. And typically, there is a single item up for sale from a single seller, and there is a time limit where the auctions end, and a reserve price below which the seller will not sell, and a minimum incremental bid set. And multiple buyers bid against one another until the auction times limit is reached, and the highest bidder wins the item. Another example is a Dutch internet auctions format is perfect for sellers that have many identical items to sell. And sellers start by listing a minimum price or starting bid for one item and the numbers of items for sale. And bidders specify both a bid price and the quantity they want to buy. Then we will discuss about the benefit we can get from the online auctions. So we list some important benefits. The first one is the liquidity. So seller can find the willing buyer and the buyer can find the seller. And seller and buyer can be located anywhere around the globe. And just as important, the buyer and seller can find a global market for rare items that would not have existed before the internet. And their second benefit is a price discovery. So buyer and seller can quickly, efficiently develop the prices for items that are difficult to assess, where the price depends on the demand and supply, and where the product is rare. And price transparency is also one benefit of online auctions. Moreover, we can see the market efficiencies, the lower transaction costs, consumer aggregations, and finally is network effects will be another advantages of online auctions. And besides some benefits we mentioned before, there are a number of risks and costs involved in participating in auctions. And in some cases, auctions market can fail like all markets at times. Some of the more important risks and costs to keep in mind are the trust risk. So the online auctions are a significant source of internet fraud, and using auctions increase the risk of experiencing a loss. And we can list the delay consumption cost. We need to consider the monitoring cost, the equipment cost, and finally is the fulfillment cost. Next, we move to the selling side. So the auction can be an appropriate channel for businesses to sell items in a variety of situations. And the factors for businesses to consider include the type of product, the product life cycle, the channel management, and the type of auctions, initial pricing, bid increments, online auction length, the number of items, and finally is the close versus open bidding. And besides that, auctions are particularly prone to fraud, which produce an information asymmetric between buyer and seller. So when using the online auctions, the buyer and seller need to consider about the information that we receive. And the next part will be presented by Giao.
So this will be the last part of our presentation about e-commerce portal. So e-commerce portals are gateways to web pages available on the internet, and its original purpose is to help users to find information on the web. Then it gradually evolved into sites that provide a variety of content from news to entertainment. Today's e-commerce portals serve three main purposes: searching, contents, and e-commerce. The example of e-commerce portal can be Google, Yahoo, and Shopee. So there are two main types of portals. That is the general purpose portal and vertical market portal. General purpose portal can be like AOL, Yahoo, and MSN, which try to attract a very large and general audience by providing many in-depth vertical content channels. Some also offer ISP services on a subscription basis: search engines, email, chat, bulletin boards, and personal pages. Vertical market portals are so-called destination sites. They attempt to attract a highly focused, loyal audience with an intense interest in either a community they belong to or an interest they hold. Vertical market portal can be divided in two main types. That is the affinity groups, which are designed to serve aggregates of people who identify themselves by their values, beliefs, and behavior. The other one is focused content portals. These are the sites contain in-depth information on a particular topic that all members are interested in. They can be as broad as sport, news, weather, entertainment, or finance, or they can appeal to a much more focused group such as sport, horse, or video game enthusiasts. And in order to operate actively, e-commerce portals must find their way of generating revenue. The revenue from e-commerce portal can receive from a number of different resources, and the business model is currently changing and adapting to declines in certain revenue streams, especially advertising revenues. And revenue sources can include general advertising, tenancy deals, subscription fees, and commissions on sales. To survive fierce competition, each e-commerce portal have to create its own surviving strategy. For example, general purpose portals have to develop a rich, deep vertical content in order to attract advertisers to a various niche group and that they can target with focused ads. For example, general portal sites such as AOL and Yahoo do not have well-developed search engines, while Google has a very powerful search engine which help them to grow as fast as now. And for smaller vertical market portals, they have to build a collection of vertical portals and thereby creating a network of deep and rich content sites for the same reason. So from this chapter, we hope you can understand more clearly about social networks and online platforms, how they operate and survive through the years. This point also concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening.